regulars to the channel will know that we have a large number of charging stations here at my house, which also happens to be the home of Transport Evolved. We have the Ford Pro charging station. That's the one on the other side of this wall that is also part of our home integration system. It allows us to charge my F-150 Lightning at power levels of up to 80 amps and then also to pull up to just under 10 kilowatts from my truck to power the house in an emergency. The feed for that goes into this breaker panel here. We also have a charging station on the other side of the garage that is a span drive unit. It is capable of charging at power levels to about 10-11 kilowatts. Those are our two main charging stations that we use when no one else is around. Then we have our pump house. I paused there because my partner and I have another name for it, which is not safe for work. But if I tell you that it is a building that needs to be taken down and rebuilt and it smells of mice, you might guess what the name is. That building, if we can call it that, has a 110 volt granny lead that is permanently out there to trickle charge a vehicle when someone from the team is here and they've left their vehicle for a couple of days. We whack it on that charger and it just trickle charges. So when they're back, they have a full battery and they can go on their merry way. And then we have these, a pair of JuiceBoxes by EnelX. Originally, these JuiceBoxes were made by EMotorWerks, and at the time, when they were first made, they were some of the best charging stations on the market. Not because of how powerful they were, but because of how versatile they were. EMotorWerks designed these to be compatible in such a way that you could take a single 50 amp supply and split it between two charging stations. Not only that, but you could intelligently split power. So if there was just one vehicle there, you could pull the full 40 amps. It's a 50 amp supply, but because of US electrical code, it can only be 40 amps instead of 50, which is the breaker rating. So it would just have a 40 amp charging station, and that would be great. Then if somebody else came along and plugged in a second car, these two charging stations would talk to each other and figure out which charging station was going to get the higher power level, which one was going to get the lower power level, and if they both needed to charge, they would split the available power down the middle between both of them. These are also compatible with Home Assistant using a third-party integration that leveraged the public API that EMotorWerks made available to people. It was phenomenal. I had full control over my charging station. I used to have a setup that allowed me to dial down my power depending on how much solar panels were generating throughout the day. But EMotorWerks was acquired by another company. It's a bit of a theme on this channel right now, and the company that acquired EMotorWerks wasn't interested in the versatility of this, but rather the end proposition to the customer, and more importantly, the end proposition to customers needing to fast charge. These became kind of a secondary importance, and, well, at the beginning of this year, after more than a year of warning us it would happen, these charging stations, which are smart grid connected, were upgraded by the company that acquired EMotorWerks. They were effectively stripped of all of their capabilities, and EnelX, that's the company that acquired EMotorWerks, took these two perfectly functioning, perfectly reliable charging stations and turned them into a pain in my side. See, even if one of these charging stations is plugged in, it will only give 1/2 of the available power from this circuit. You can't change the current ratings at all, and the new app that I've been told I have to use by EnelX, it won't let me on. It doesn't matter how many times I try and reset my password, how many times I reach out to customer support, nada. So, we have had enough. And so our goal today is to introduce you to our newest project. We're going to take these perfectly functional charging stations with perfectly functional Type 1 charge cables. We're going to gut them, and we're going to put new hardware inside that will let us do exactly what we want. Let's go there. The first thing, of course, I need to do is to take this cover off and disconnect this charging station, this is the one I'm going to take apart first, from the mains power. But before I do that, I need to flip the breaker in the span panel, which is on the other side of the house. So tell me when the light goes out, okay? So I'm just going to switch this to AC, and then I'm going to take a reading and make sure that it is in fact not live. I have a friend called John who would shout bang at the right moment. Yep, it is in fact dead. I'm also going to make sure that I'm actually taking readings from the right one, so I'm going to check this one as well. Yep, no voltage at all between any of those circuits. So I am happy. We can start taking this one out. When dealing with high current cabling, you don't want to use a wire nut. You want to use something like this. So these are fantastic. They are also a bit of a pain to undo because they're pretty tight. So I'm going to undo the cables for this one. There we go. Now, because I don't want critters on here, I'm going to undo this, and then I'm going to put some tape over it. The good thing about these two units is that I can take one of these off the wall and the other one will carry on working just fine. I'll just have one less charger. So I can test my setup with this one and then do the same thing with the second one. I'm glad we took this off because these end terminals are not in a very good condition. Hopefully we can strip them properly when we put them on, or maybe even just replace the cable. That is also an option. All right, let's lift that off. Everything is disconnected. And then I just need to grab the charge cable and we can take this upstairs. I'm back in the studio. I have cleaned up this juice box as best I can. And in a second, I'm going to remove the sticker that you can't see on this side of the unit that says warranty void if removed. I'm going to have so much pleasure removing that. I'm going to very quickly though give you a bit of an overview of the unit. So on the front of this unit you have 3 LEDs, one to indicate that the unit has power, that will be a steady red if it's powered on. Then there is a network signal LED that flashes when it's communicating over Wi-Fi, and then you've got obviously the charging light that turns on when the vehicle is actually pulling power through the unit. That is pretty much it. It's a nice metal construction, which is one of the reasons why I want to repurpose this case and then put in more modern open source components inside. There is some concern about the Wi-Fi receiver, but there's a little plastic dome on top of this unit, and I think if I hide a Wi-Fi antenna in there I should be just fine. And then on the back of this unit you have the mounting plate that allows you to just hang it on the wall, and then this hole here is where you put a through screw to attach it to the wall. On this side obviously you've got all of the regulatory information. We don't need to worry about that anymore, so let's take the sticker off. This is one of these very special warranty stickers that actually comes apart and can't ever go back on. So I've broken my warranty. Whoops. Devices like this often come with security screws to stop people from getting into it, but luckily I have purchased an iFixit toolkit. I've owned this for a couple of years and I use it on everything. My retro computer projects, my home improvement projects, and my electronics projects. And I think that these are that size. So let's go ahead and get into it. One of the things that really upsets me about these charging stations is that they were really well built. I mean, these days, a lot of charging stations are plastic. Even the Ford Charge Station Pro that sits on the outside of my house and is capable of providing up to 20 kilowatts of charging power to my truck is still in a plastic enclosure. This is proper metal. It's well engineered, and it really upsets me that what caused this to fail was the software that runs on the cloud. Removing this, I can see that there are a couple of main components inside. The first one is the ribbon connector that attaches to the LEDs on the front, and that is great news because it tells me that these LEDs up front are just regular old LEDs, and that means I can repurpose them. All I have to do is make sure that I tap into the right connector there. So let's just remove this connector. It's just a ribbon connector. This is phenomenal news. And look, this is a proper cast cover with a proper lovely gasket around the outside. I'm so excited about that. So I've taken off these nuts here, these little nylock nuts. Interestingly, 2 of these positions had little earthing grounding points on them, one here and one here. The other ones did not, but this board looks very nicely designed. I'm going to just lift it up here. As I surmised, this is the antenna here for the Wi-Fi point. So I can actually just pop this off the board and reuse it. This is a standard antenna. I can reuse that on the open source board. It's got some lovely nylon standoffs here that attach to the back of the board. And for simplicity's sake, this is going to be really easy for me to put new stuff on. So this here is a little switch mode power supply. It's going to take the 100 to 240 volts AC and it spits it out at 12 volts, 1.8 amps, I think, or is this? Yeah, so 1.8 amps. That is what's going to run the computer circuitry inside here. I might be able to reuse that. And also here we have a little CMOS battery, a little Panasonic. Let's have a look and see what type of battery this is here. If I do this, it will die. It is technically still alive right now. I'm operating. Pull this out. Oh, it's a 2032. I'm not going to pull it out because I can see what it is now. It's a little Panasonic 2032. That's like a little 3-point-something volt battery. And then on the back of here, you just got a few discrete components. Look like you've got some diodes here and some tracers. But all of the action for this unit is happening on the front here. All of these are lovely labels and it's very clear. I can see exactly what's going on. And we've got some sensor points here. So let's have a look at the circuit board traces and see what we have. So here, this one here is going to be, you can tell I'm getting old because I'm going to take my glasses off. This is one of the current sensors here that I'm just going to pull off the board. So I'm going to do that gently without breaking anything. So there's your current sensor. Here I assume is going to be the other current sensor because it's a similar kind of size and actually it's a similar design. I should probably make sure I don't screw those up and confuse them. Then here is the main 120 volts in, which is going to go straight back through these just to smooth the circuit and then straight into there. And this is a JuiceBox EVSE version 08.17.09. There were several different ones, but in terms of simplicity, I think this is probably one of the better ones I've seen. This is your relay, and these things here are current sensors. So these are going to figure out how much current is flowing to the car through the charging cable. And then also there's another current sensor here. Now you see that one of these current sensors goes around the positive and the negative, and the other one just goes around the positive. That's how they set up. I can reuse these, I believe, for the open EVSE. I can also reuse this relay. However, as I noted earlier on, this relay has a habit of getting stuck. So if I can find a replacement relay that sits on the board in that position, that is going to be my best bet moving forwards, because all of these power points that are coming off this power distribution board are then being sent to here. So I don't know if you can see clearly, but here you've got the main power coming in from the main. So the negative and the positive, it's not actually, there's one phase and one phase, but I'm British, so I'm going to assume this is one side of the 240 and this is the other, which is correct, although they're both phases. They're split phase and they're 180 degrees apart. Here we've got this looks like the control circuitry for the control pins, and I'm going to have to snip these at some point. I'm not going to do that right now. And then here, this blue cable is probably the pilot cable, because it comes straight back in here and communicates with this processor. That's the thing that says, hey, I'm here, I'm connected, I'm ready to charge. And then we've got here some other connectors. So I'm going to actually pull the rest of these off. Let's see if I'm right. And this last one. That capacitor is just in the wrong place. There we go. So there we are. So let's have a look. Was I right? This connector, in fact, was actually the CGFI, the ground test wire loop. That's what this one was here. And then, sorry, that was the orange, that was the pink one here. This is the ground test fault loop. That's this one here. It's very important. Obviously, it's the one that makes sure that if there's an issue with the ground, it's not going to charge. And then we've got here, this one doesn't actually have, yes, it does. It has some lovely labeling on here, relay and pilot. I called it. I said it was the pilot, didn't I? The blue one here. And it was, in fact, the pilot. The one underneath is the relay. So the yellow connection goes straight to the relay, and that is what engages the relay. And then what else have we got? We've got a stuck relay test. So this circuit here, which is going to be this red and blue one, checks to make sure that the relay isn't active. This is important because if there's an issue with the relay, it's stuck, it makes sure that no power can flow. It's an important test. And then obviously here we've got the LED pin outs, and it doesn't actually say which LED is which, but I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? We can test back to here and probably look and figure out which one of those pins goes to which thing. There are 4 connectors, so that's going to have a common ground, and then each LED is going to have its own power supply. So we can figure that out pretty easily, I think. So that is it. And I will have to obviously trace here to see which one of these 4 connects to ground, which we can do on this board. We can do a trace and see which one is going to be direct to ground. And then after that, we'll be able to see what to do. I would love to know what you think. Do you think I should try and get someone to help me program this board and keep the original board? Or do you think I should make use of my 3D printer and print a proper circuit holder to go in here that I can then mount the various open EVSE hardware to? I would love to know your thoughts below. And if you have an open EVSE, tell me what you would do. And if you have a JuiceBox, tell me if you would be brave enough to do this to your now very expensive, not really functional paperweight. Thanks for joining me today. And if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people that help make this channel possible by funding it through Patreon and YouTube, covering our bills, paying our team, and making sure we can be 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, $10.08 a year. A massive welcome to our newest supporters, Ralph Koenig, Mr. Eldritch, Dwayne Adiger, and Corey Singletray. To join our list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your week of fame. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll also find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations, and we even have an old-fashioned PO box you can reach us at. The address is listed below. And of course, if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store link in the down below as well. This month, we are celebrating Wrangling EV FUD with a fantastic t-shirt design by our in-house artist and animator Erin. Get yours today by heading to our Redbubble store. We've got some great content coming up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we also think that this one is well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving.